What's going on, guys? It's Arkham. Welcome back to a post-market analysis. And today we're going to be talking about these two trades that we took today. Um, in the S&P 500. And to be honest, today wasn't the best day. This is why trading is so difficult because trading is, I'd probably say 90% mental, 80, 90% mental. Um, a lot of it is just keeping yourself grounded in your plan, keeping yourself grounded in your rules. And, at the end of the day, we're all human, right? We Trading requires you to be disciplined every single day, right? And, we're human. We have days where we're off course or we're not doing something that we usually do. And, it's completely normal. Today, one of my, biggest mistakes today was, um, one of my rules that I take limit order trades only, right? This is one of my rules that I follow, and I didn't do that today, right? I took both market execution trades today, and they were both piss poor. And it's like this today, the performance that I put on today was not me. Like, it's not usually how I trade. I was very impatient today, right? I took two trades in the span of 30 minutes like that. I don't do that, right? I'm patient. I wait for my setups. I wait for my opportunities. I wait for my A plus setup, my A plus opportunity to come into fruition, and then I execute. And if it's a winner, I add into that position and I maximize on the wins. But today it was like I just felt impatient today, if I can say that, right? I felt impatient today. I took two trades. They were very bad. The market was very, very tough. Today was a high resistance day. Essentially, high resistance day is where it's just very tough to trade. Lots of divergence. The market isn't aligned. Um, and you get these days when big smart money, big players aren't in the markets, right? When smart money isn't in the markets, right, you get these choppy, consolidated days where it wicks around. Like it'll move, right? Eventually, we gotta move lower, but it's just the fact that we consolidated and we wicked around and it was diverging, right? Even though it moved lower, it was very tough to read the marketplace, and then that's okay, right? But where I lacked as a trader today, and where I think a lot of people also lack as a trader is when the market gets to these conditions where it's very tough to read and it's very hard. I feel like um as traders and me myself, I can steer away from my trading plan, right? And this is just what it means to be human, right? We're not perfect. We're not disciplined every single day. We wish to be disciplined every day and we try to be disciplined every single day, but you have days like these where it's very tough and it becomes a mental battle, right? And I'm glad that I'm able to look over the day and I'm able to see where I was wrong today. And this is why the post market analysis for me, as well as you guys, is so important. It's to reflect, right? You guys always want to be reflecting, right? I'm able to reflect and see today was not a good day for me, right? If I had a rate today out of 4 stars, today was probably a 2 out of 4 stars. And I haven't had a 2 out of 4 stars since the first week of February, right? And you know, it was very impatient. I didn't wait for the setup. I chased the market. If you guys seen, like, I literally like top tick this thing. Like, I literally got long at the top tick. Stop loss like down here. Like I don't know. Like what is that, right? Like bearish fair value gap right here. Bearish order block. Like, why am I trying to go long inside of bearish resistance levels after tapping into a H1 higher time frame resistance level? Like looking back at the markets, like it didn't make sense. And I don't know who was trading this morning, but it clearly wasn't me. And That's why trading is so difficult, is because you're battling yourself. You're battling your disciplined self versus your undisciplined self. And you're gonna have days like these where maybe your undisciplined self takes it takes the wheel. And and I'm glad that I'm able to be in a position to where I'm able to pick up on things like that and stop, because a lot of traders don't stop, right? Any trader today, right, seeing the market wick around, consolidate, and chop around, they would have blown their accounts today. They would have tried to make the money back. They would have blown their accounts. And they would have never improved as a trader. While me in a position, I'm able to see that, okay, I took two longs here, right? I'm clearly not on sides. I don't know. I can't necessarily read this market, right? It's choppy, it's consolidated. This isn't a easy market to read. I'm gonna walk away here before I go on tilt, which is a real thing. Tilt is a real thing where you literally don't like see yourself, right? You're not in control, right? Whoever's in control, they're gonna blow your account. Like tilt is a real thing. And I'm glad that I'm in a position now to where I'm able to hold myself accountable and stop myself before going into that area. But a lot of you guys may still struggle with tilt, and still maybe you'll have one bad day, and next thing you know, that wipes away weeks and months worth of progress, right? Just one bad day. And it's understanding that you're human, right? No matter how many years, no matter how better you get as a trader, even seven-figure traders, even hedge fund traders, right? They still feel emotion. They still go through losing streaks. They still go through drawdown just like every one of us, right? And they still feel that emotion. They still feel worried, um, maybe not confident. They still feel that emotion. But what separates them versus the average trader is they're able to come back the next day and execute the same way. They're not changing their strategies. They're not beating themselves up, but they're able to learn and see, okay, I was not myself today. I could have done better today. I'm going to see where I messed up and I'm going to do better. Like that's what separates the great traders from the average traders that lose 99% of the time, is that one mindset shift of the next day, right? Always think about the next day, right? Because when we take a loss, our focus is how can I make that back today, in the next 5 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, when it should be, how can I make that back in the next week, month, year? You know what I mean? So always think about that next day. Um, don't ever put yourself in a position to where you allow yourself to get off rail. At the end of the day, we're all humans. We're not perfect. No matter how good we get at trading, we'll still have days like these where we're undisciplined, right? I don't trade market execution, right? Because I trade based off of my setup, and if my setup is there, I'll just put a limit order and wait for price to come to me. I don't need to chase the market with a market execution. But I did that exact same thing today, and I'm looking back at it and I'm like, why did I do that? You know what I mean? And you're gonna be in this situation to where it's like you did something wrong, and it's like, why did I do that? But then it's understanding that you're human. You're human. Trading is fighting against you. It's you versus you. It's a mental battle between you versus you, and seeing where I could have improved on today and getting better. That's the only way to really push yourself out of this, right? But overall, I mean, um it was really tough because just going over the trade breakdown here, right? There was a lot that I could have improved on, right? I said it multiple times, right? I only wanted to take a long if price action broke above this bearish fair value gap and we seen a pushback lower, right? That's the only reason why I wanted to go long. Price action never had a body close above this bearish fair value gap. It never had it. So why did I go long? Why did I why did I go long? Why did I not follow my plan? And it's like, it's something that's like in the back of your mind, and it's like I said I was gonna wait for a body close above this bearish fair value gap, and then on a pullback I would take long because this would then become inverted, but that never happened. But I still took a long and I chased the market. I chased the market today. And um, you know, it's something where it's like I'm disappointed at the performance today because I could have done better. Even though today was a tough day, I mean, there was still an opportunity. There was still a move, and it's the fact that I couldn't see that. And I couldn't see that, and my eyesight was not 20/20. My eyesight was like 5 or 10/20 today, right? I couldn't see the move, mainly because of the consolidation, the wick. It was very choppy, but still there was a move, and I feel like I could have gone better, right? So this was a first trade. I essentially just chased it, right? I seen it wick up above this fair value gap and I chased it, right? Instead of waiting for the body to close above the fair value gap for a pullback, I chased it higher as the candle was forming. And I did the same thing last week, right? Instead of waiting for the body to close bearish, I chased it higher, right? And I ended up, having a poor stop loss and having to get stopped out, right? Or, taking a trade off early, right? I chased the market, right? And the same thing happened today, and it's two things. One, it's impatience, and two, it's lack of awareness, right? Lack of awareness, right? I don't know why, but today I was just impatient today, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it was just a weekend and today's Monday, and I just wanted to come into a market and place a trade, right? That's where I feel like I messed up today, was that impatience, feeling like it's Monday, I haven't taken a trade in 2 days. Let me come into a market and take something, and that's not me. Like that's not how I trade. Like I'm a very patient person. I wait for the right opportunities. I wait for the right setups. And today I didn't do that. And no, I can be transparent with you guys and tell you guys, right? Today was not a good day for me, right? Like what mentor is gonna tell you today was not a good day for me, right? Because this is more than me trying to sell you something, right? This is me showing you guys the realities of what it means to be a day trader, right? You're not gonna have a perfect day every single day. There's gonna be days where you're gonna be off course. There's gonna be days where you're gonna be impatient and you're gonna chase price and you're not gonna see the market how you're supposed to see it until after the fact, right? And it was sticking in a lot of it was something that I also like as well, right? Back by sticking to the bias, right? Sticking to the bias, right? Nasdaq going higher this morning. Nasdaq going higher this morning. It put me in a position to where it's like, if Nasdaq is going higher, right, then and Nasdaq wasn't showing any signs of rejection, right? Nasdaq was still pushing higher and higher and higher, and it eventually did push higher prices, right? And eventually Nasdaq just came tumbling down and it's just consolidating. Like Nasdaq didn't do anything today, right? So seeing Nasdaq push higher this morning put me in a position to where it's like, okay, Nasdaq is pushing higher. Dow Jones had this bullish fair value gap down here, so I'm seeing Nasdaq is pushing higher, and Dow Jones has this bullish fair value gap. So I'm anticipating the Dow Jones to potentially come down into this bullish fair value gap to then find support to then go higher, right? And I'm anticipating potentially ES. There was an M15 fair value gap, right? I'm potentially anticipating for the ES to potentially come down to this M15 fair value gap, find support for a continued move higher into these, liquidity pools, right? So, that was my overall narrative of what I wanted to see, but that was not what was happening, right? And it's differentiating myself from the bias, right? even though my bias was okay, I wanted to see um the ES come lower, find support, push higher, and the Nasdaq continue higher. At the end of the day, I was only looking at longs when I should have also been paying attention to the shorts, if that made sense, right? So I had a reasoning to go long, so my entire eyesight was looking at the longs and I was not paying attention to the shorts. And this comes back to awareness. You have to be aware of both sides of the market. You cannot stick to just one bias, whether I'm gonna go long or whether I'm gonna go short. You have to be aware of both sides, right? And take what the market was showing you, right? This was not a good trade, right? This long here, like it didn't even break above, right? It didn't even break above the bearish fair value gap. It didn't even do that, right? So this was not a good trade, but taking a short here was, right? Taking a short here was, right? We seen price reject from this bearish fair value gap and seen a strong displacement candle lower, right? It came up into this bearish fair value gap, gave a strong displacement lower, right? This last down closed candle then becomes a bearish breaker, right? Inside of this bearish breaker, because look, high, low, higher high, right? This took out this high, bang, right? Right? We see price respect this bearish fair value gap, right? We're inside of this bearish breaker as well as this bearish fair value gap, right? Can you guess what I did this morning, right? Can you guess? Seeing this bearish breaker inside of this bearish fair value gap after showing displacement, can you guess what direction of the market I went this morning? I went long at the highs. What am I doing? What am I doing? I don't know why I did that. I went long at the highs, right? And this was 100% my fault because and once again it's sticking to that bias, right? I was still anticipating longs because Nasdaq was still going higher, and this is why it's very difficult because it's very difficult during days where uh the market is diverted, right? The Nasdaq was going higher, right? But the Dow Jones was pushing lower, right? Right. So I was anticipating maybe the Dow Jones finds support to go higher with the Nasdaq. So I once again I didn't wait for my setup. Instead, I chased longs. I chased longs. Um, basically inside of a bearish fair value gap. I went long inside of a bearish fair value gap. What the heck? That I don't do that. I don't go long inside of a bearish fair value gap. That's stupid, right? I was anticipating a break above this bearish fair value gap to then pull back for a long, but we never got that break above the bearish fair value gap. Price action, if you guys can see, price action stopped dead in its track inside of the bearish fair value gap. Literally the best signature you can get for weakness in the marketplace. Price action stopping dead in its track at the literal high of the bearish fair value gap, right? And inside of this bearish breaker, right? So the longs didn't work here. We eventually seen the Dow Jones fail, right? We eventually seen the Dow Jones fail, right? I didn't see it at the time, but Nasdaq was inside of a rejection block. I didn't see it at the time, right? I didn't see this at the time, right? But I should have, and this is where it comes in awareness, right? You have to be aware of this, right? I didn't see the rejection block at the time. I didn't see Nasdaq was coming higher to a rejection block. I thought the Nasdaq was bullish, but I didn't see that it was just coming into an area of resistance. So it's that lack of awareness. It's impatience, right? Not following my plan, which is only taking trades based off of limit orders and not being aware of the entire market, right? Not being aware that we're inside of a bearish breaker, inside of a bearish fair value gap, while the Dow Jones is pushing lower, while the NASDAQ came back higher into a rejection block area. Everything that everything right now that I'm seeing was screaming bearishness, right? But I don't know why at the time of trading I was looking for longs, right? And this is why hindsight is 2020, right? When you're inside of a live market environment compared to looking at it after, it's two completely different things, right? And this is why it's so important to look at the market after and seeing where you went wrong and where you could have improved. Obviously, um, that impatience factor, right? Not waiting for the price, not waiting for the candle to break above the bearish fair value gap, right? Which it never did, meaning I would have never taken that long. If I was patient and waited for that, I would have never taken that long, saving myself from two losses. And then two, it was the lack of awareness. Seeing the Nasdaq being inside of that rejection level, right? I could have anticipating that Nasdaq was just coming higher to then come back into a resistance level to then drop lower with the Dow Jones, right? And three, it was sticking to that long bias, right? Instead of sticking to that one bias, anticipating longs, I should have been aware of the shorts, right, as the market presented it, right? So these are the three things that I could improve on today that I think, that I'm already working on these things as a trader, but it's important to continue to see this happen and continue to gain new insight on it and how you can get better, right? How you get better as a trader is through experience, right? It's through experience. And as we do these pre-markets and the live tradings and post markets, you guys are gaining that experience not only from me but you guys as well, right? You guys seeing me, trade live and do the post markets, you guys and the pre markets, you guys are leaning on my experience as well as you guys' own experience, right? I hope you guys are doing this, yourselves, looking at the markets after, before, and during yourselves and gaining that experience yourselves, right? And it's through experience that you learn about yourself, see where you could get better as a trader, and see how you can improve, right? I've improved a lot as a trader in a very short amount of time, right? Because of this process, right? Just constantly self-critiquing myself, constantly looking over where could I improve on, where could I get better. And at the end of the day, these are the three things that I need to improve on as a trader. Um, before I really hit that pinnacle for myself. And and we're all chasing something as traders, we're all chasing to be better traders. So seeing where you guys are lacking and seeing how you guys can overcome that is very important, right? I'm growing just like you guys. You guys are in here getting better as traders, right? Right? We're all in here becoming the best traders that we can be, right? We're all growing in this together, right? I'm not this 100% win rate mentor who's perfect every single day, right? ICT himself have been trading for 30 years. I have not been trading for 30 years. He can do what he do because he has 30 years worth of experience. We're not there yet, right? We're nowhere fucking close. We're nowhere close to ICT's level, right? But we're all chasing to be better as traders. And that's why this community is so awesome because it's not just you guys learning from your mistakes. It's not just you guys gaining that experience and learning and improving. It's also myself. I'm getting better by the day, right? Me doing the live trading every single day keeps me accountable and sticking to my training plan, right? Right. And as well as you guys learn from my experience live trading as well. That's the whole point of it, right? It's not to take my trades and, win or lose, right? It's to learn from it and get better from it. And that's the importance of it. But, we all have days like these as traders where, the market is very, very tough and, the market can be hard to read. But where I think I can improve on as a trader is during these times where the market is very tough and the market is hard to read, I need to be disciplined throughout it. So whether the market is clear and I can see the right setups and I'm capitalizing on the move, or during these times where the market is very tough, I need to be disciplined throughout, right? And that's where I've struggled with, right? When the market is clean and it's clear, it's very easy. I can, make a lot of money during those markets. But when the market is very choppy, it's very divergent, it's accumulating, the volume isn't there. Um, I can stray away from my trading plan, and that's where discipline comes in. And I'm continuing to build that discipline, right? I'm not gonna tell you guys that I'm a completely disciplined trader and I'm a perfect trader, right? At the end of the day, I'm growing and I'm improving along with you guys, right? We're on, growing together. This is a community, right? We're not 100% perfect every single day, but as long as we're getting better day in, day out and improving, that's how we become better as traders, right? There's nothing wrong with your strategy or um you know there's nothing wrong with your strategy or how you trade, or you should change anything. Today just wasn't your day, right? And you just have to have that second day mindset. I'm gonna come back tomorrow better. I'm gonna improve from the performance I did today, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow better. Today was a tough day for a lot of people, and um what differentiates me from a lot of traders is I'll have a bad day and I'll have bad performances, but I'll only be down point 0.5 or 1 R. While another trader, he can have a bad day and he can completely blow his account, right? That's what differentiates me from a lot of traders, right? And that's where you guys need to be as traders. Don't let these days where you're not following the same plan that you did yesterday, and you know the market is a lot tougher. Don't let those bad days define you as a trader, and don't let them completely mess up your progress. Understand that today was not a good day. I could have improved. I could have done better. I was very clumsy today, but I'm gonna come back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be a lot clearer. There's news tomorrow, right? So we're not gonna get stuck with this consolidation mess, right? Like look at Nasdaq today. It barely moved, right? It's just consolidated, right? Like you can't day trade this, right? So tomorrow there's gonna be news. There's gonna be better volatility. There's gonna be a better move tomorrow. So I'm gonna take the loss today. I'm gonna learn from the loss. I'm gonna see where I'm lacking as a trader during the loss, during the tough market conditions, and when the market does open up and when the market does present a better opportunity, that's when I've learned, right? You want to learn when the market is hard, right? When the market is hard, that's when you want to learn about yourself and get better as a trader. And so when the market does improve and get easier, um you've already taken those shots from the market when it was hard. So when the market's easier, if it tries to throw any punches at you, you've already experienced it and you can capitalize. So that's the most important part, is just um understanding that no matter how far you get in your training journey, you're gonna have days where you're just off course. You're gonna have days where you're gonna mess up, and you're not gonna be perfect, right? You're gonna make the same mistakes that you have made the day prior. And no, it's important that you learn after the fact, and you come back tomorrow, right? It's always about tomorrow. It's always about next week. It's always about next month. Don't allow today's loss to affect your entire day and carry on to the next day or the next week, right? Just take the loss that you took today, learn from it, see where jot it down, see where you can improve as a trader as a whole, and then come back tomorrow a lot better, stronger. So, you know, for remainder of the day, I'm a back test later today. Seeing where I could have improved, seeing where I could have gone better, right? Look over my rules, um, look over my train plan once again, and overall, build myself up, build that confidence back up. So coming back in tomorrow, I can be a lot more disciplined, because I don't feel I was as disciplined as I should have been today. Taking market execution trades, not waiting for my optimal setups. Um, as well, I was looking at too many screens at once, so um, I'm no longer monitoring the dollar. I'll still make a pre-market plan, but if I'm trading, I'm no longer monitoring the dollar because I'm looking at too many things at once. So, I was looking at the ES, the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones, and the dollar. I'm looking at too many things at once. It was giving me it was confusing me because the market was diverted today, right? The market was diverted today, right? The dollar was going lower with the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq was going higher while the Dow Jones was going lower. It was completely diverted, and seeing that divergence completely knocked me off my square. It completely knocked me off guard. So seeing less screens and seeing less just seeing less screens and sticking to the screens that I know matter, which is just looking at the S&P 500 on the M5, the M15, as well as looking at the Nasdaq on and the Dow Jones on the M15s. Like those are the screens that matter. Everything else is just noise. So sticking to less screens, um, and overall being aware a lot more. So that's where I truly lacked today was awareness. I could have been a little bit more aware today. Um, the market was tough, but I feel as I could have been better and I could have improved, and that's what differentiates me from a lot of traders is I'm able to recognize my flaws and I'm able to improve from them, while most traders aren't able to recognize their flaws and not improve at all. And they spend months and years in the same loop as traders, right? And and you don't want to be in that situation, right? You want constantly critique yourself, constantly look over, constantly seeing where you can improve, um, and really become the best trader that you can be, right? Every single day, we're aiming to become the best traders that we can possibly be. Literally, we're trying to become the best traders that we can possibly be, and it doesn't come overnight. It comes from a lot of losses. It comes from a lot of wins. It comes from a lot of overall experience, seeing the same thing over and over again, seeing how you react over and over again, and learning from it every single time, and seeing how you can critique this, apply this. Okay, I should have been a little bit more patient here. I'm a journal that, and I'm gonna improve on that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Right? It's these little tweaks. It's like 1,000 little tweaks. It's 1,000 little tweaks, like every single day that you're trading, it's like a new tweak. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. Next time, I'm not going to do that. Okay, this day, okay, I did that, but that happened, so I'm not going to do that next time. Okay, this happened and it worked good. Okay, I'm going to do that next time. It's thousands and thousands of these little tweaks and these little maneuvers that you have to add into your trading that's based off of solely experience, right? This is why experience is so important, right? It's solely based off of experience, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and making little tweaks every single day, right? So, um, today wasn't the best day, obviously. Looking at it, hindsight is 2020, right? Like it was obviously shorts. Looking at it, hindsight, but when you're in a live train condition, when you're in the live markets, it's completely different, and that's something that I'm constantly improving on is during the live markets, building that awareness and not allowing myself to get into my head and staying disciplined every single day. Despite how I feel, I have to be disciplined. I have to trade the same way every single day, and I feel like today I didn't do that, and I'm able to be transparent and tell you guys, and I'm able to improve on that, right? Who I am tomorrow versus who I am today is going to be two completely different people, because I'm able to learn from this and build from it, right? So that's going to be a post-market analysis for the S&P 500, right? Overall, we see the Dow Jones came down and swept the prior daily lows, right? The prior daily lows, it came down and swept it after tapping into the H1 order block, 50%, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And we seen the Dow Jones obviously give that Judas swing, and then after the Judas swing, we saw it push lower. give that pullback inside of this bearish fair value gap, and then from there it just dropped lower. Nasdaq came back up into this rejection block and then dropped lower for a bit, but then just consolidated, and then the S&P 500 came up, swept these prior days lows right here, swept these prior day lows. I mean, these prior, just like it just came up and swept these highs, right? ES came up, swept these highs. Bearish fair value gap right here. Spent a little bit of time here, but eventually we saw this displacement candle lower, strong displacement candle lower, and then we have this bearish fair value gap right here. After that strong displacement candle, we have that bearish fair value gap inside of this bearish breaker, right? Unicorn setup, bearish breaker, bearish fair value gap, and the best trade opportunity would have obviously been something like this, right? It would have been something like this for a 2R. This would have been the best trade opportunity today. And it's unfortunate that I didn't have the awareness to see this as it was happening live, but this is why it's important to do the post-market analysis, because you're training your eyes to see it after the fact it happened. So when we are in the live markets again and the same situation arises again, I will be more prepared and I will take the execution. So that's gonna be it for the video. I'll see you guys next time.